stop when I choose.
Getting home from hard days from work, thinking about fighting cause I'm a needy dork. I don't like people, for example Charlie Kirk. Listening on his low IQ takes really hurt. He's the reason why libs wear heavy skirts. Writing whatever goes on in my head. If nothing is coming out, might as well go to ed. All the books, all the articles I have read makes me wanna be myself until I am dead. I'll ask my rivals if they don't agree.
Copper or lead?
As it has it, I'm the most fit. You can never make me quit. That's me, I'm life, I'm ballsy guys. My drug is life, I'm always very high. I'll live a dangerous life until I die. I'll force feed my grandma cherry pie. Don't you dare disrespect the sky. That's where I'm at, you stupid fly. Wanna know how to live in lava? It's something I wanna do, I gotta. Don't you dare judge me, want some pasta? If you say no, I'll kick you screaming, this is Sparta. Glad you like the pasta, yeah, I will say Donata. I'll punch a tree if insulted me. Don't you dare insult Boosie. I'll kick your ass, count to 3. Oh my god, I can fly, I am free. Don't you dare call that art hard as she.
It's like an abridged song, but it's strict with a bunch of restricted crickets.
That's me, I'm life, I'm ballsy guys. My drug is life, I'm always very high. I'll live a dangerous life until I die. I'll force feed my grandma cherry pie. Don't you dare disrespect the sky. That's where I'm at, you stupid fly. That's me, I'm life, I'm ballsy guys. My drug is life, I'm always very high. I'll live a dangerous life until I die. I'll force feed my grandma cherry pie. Don't you dare disrespect the sky. That's where I'm at, you stupid fly.
Yeah, we're live. Now I gotta make sure it's going through. Is my shit going through? Last time I checked, it was. So I just gotta check the audio as well. Yeah, it's working. Yep. Hello, everybody. It's Volzy. I'm sure all of you were anticipating this stream, which is kind of funny to say, but either way. I haven't gone live in a few days, but I decided to go live again because, there's a lot of things I do want to talk about. My premiere is still coming. I just gotta keep writing that, right? Just for fun. It's fun stuff. Avoiding Twitter for the most part. I mean, sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. Right. But so there's that. So going off that. There is things that when it comes to social media in general, yeah, things can be I won't say misconstrued because that's an obvious thing. People are easily influenced in what they're portrayed to. You'll tend to notice a lot of people notice a lot of that. How impressionable people can be regardless of who they are. You can tell them one thing, and I should start with this. It just depends where they lean at. If you're trying to convince somebody of something, the likelihood of doing that might depend where their beliefs or ideas are. That's where we go. And first guy to enter in is Shaft, Extreme Shaft. Haven't seen you in a long time. What's going on, man? That being said, the whole thing of social media, and yeah, we're gonna get to that. as far as premieres go as well. You'll see a lot of people. People are just easily influenced, regardless of who they are. Now, to emphasize this, people have a strong religious attachment to things. Like they have, like we have our own ways of life, right? We have our own philosophies, how we view the world, right? We are easily, as humans, are attached to those same beliefs, and we'll, even regardless of how ridiculous it may sound, humans will fight to rationalize it in their heads as much as possible. We as humans find reasons, even if it doesn't make sense, to make sense of them, regardless of it, even if it's even logical or not. The sense of human morality is just hinged on what they think and what they believe. It's an aesthetic point of view. That's kind of why you'll see a lot of people on Twitter say Trump is bad, he's evil, he's Hitler, this and that and the other. You'll notice a lot of that. It's tribalism, yes, but it's more of a sheep cult, not just a cult, but it's a sheep to something, and they need to follow that. We all are sheep to something, right? We all have beliefs of something. But you also have to view yourself as students and be mindful of what you actually follow. That's, I think, is a good way to lead. You know, I mean, there's plenty of things to talk about. And since Extreme Shaft is here, I'm pretty sure something happened over around parts of, well, we'll call them trolls as a safe word. Not that they'd be watching me anyway, so who gives a fuck? I'm not too curious, but it'd be something to talk about at least. Why not? But that can be saved for later too. Now that aside, the one thing I do want to start with is back on the stream I talked about mortgages. I kind of got it mixed up. It wasn't actually mortgage; it was the price of homes in Louisiana versus Oklahoma, not mortgages. My bad. Mortgages is different. Mortgages is like $2,000 in Oklahoma, and Louisiana is was it? No, it was Massachusetts. Again, I'm mixing up states too. It was Massachusetts. Massachusetts versus Oklahoma. People were comparing Oklahoma and Massachusetts. I was saying Oklahoma is a much better place to live than Massachusetts. Massachusetts is a much more expensive and much more socialistic state driven, and Oklahoma is more of a cheap place driven thing. And then the one thing I agree with Massachusetts with, though, is a flat tax rate. But Oklahoma has a tax bracket. The more money you make, the more percentage of state tax you pay. Which is funny because, like, any red state you go to, or any other something like that, well, not every. Some blue states have their own tax brackets, right? But the tax brackets in Oklahoma indicate make the rich pay more in percentage of tax, right? So it's like, the tax the rich, but there we go. But still, I think a flat tax rate is better than a tax bracket. Nah, just thought I'd go over that. Also, once again, mortgages into Oklahoma is $2,000, and the mortgage in Massachusetts is $9,000. And the house in total of buying a house costs over like $600,000 in Massachusetts, while in Oklahoma, just about over $200,000 over in Oklahoma. Seems like you'll have a better chance of buying a home in one of the states, and one of them is red, and one of them is cheap to live. One of them has the best production of oil going on. Stuff like that. Anyway, not to get sidetracked. I did a bit of reading, and this is one of the first things I did want to talk about. The case of cat legals eating cats and dogs, right? So I did a bit of reading about it, right? I didn't really know too much about it. It's just been widely talked about. Now, people say I don't believe it. Some people say they do. Here's the final thought without giving an actual opinion on it. I don't know if it's for real or not, but as far as police reports go, in Ohio, Compton, Ohio, Springfield, I'm not sure where it takes place, but it was people from Springfield that were going into Compton and eating cats and dogs. I don't know exactly what the reports were exactly saying, but as far as I read, this started in August 6th, where there were some people like taking geese and ducks and skinning them and eating them. And this is where it kind of cultivated into cats and dogs being, and reportedly being taken and eaten by illegal immigrants. Probably wasn't even illegal immigrants. It could have just been anybody, right? But those were happening. There's even a story shared by a woman about talking about how an illegal immigrant was eating her cat, right? So that was when was being talked about, and this mass, and I guess when it came down to when they were hearing about the kidnapping of like goose and ducks and shit was going on about, then you hear things like Trump and JD Vance talking about how Haitian immigrants, illegal immigrants rather, were kidnapping and abducting household pets and eating them. Now, police department said there is no. This is weird. This was a weird phrase to use because it does indicate there was reports, but it says, and I quote, there. Okay, what was the wording exactly? It was something around about. There was no credible reports of cats and dogs being eaten. But so wait, like they said there was no credible reports. Now the key word is credible. No, this could imply anything. I don't know why they had to say credible, but the indication of credible reports does not indicate there were no reports. They just, I guess, didn't have enough information to deduce that, yeah, this was going on. Who knows? But that tells me, yeah, there were reports going around about that. And I'm not sure why they aren't really being shared if these things are happening. So that's the one thing that key takeaway of this. Like, only reports that they deem weren't credible, whatever they are. Now they probably are like, yeah, we don't have enough information to deduce this or stuff like that, right? Or it's just like, I don't know if we can actually do anything about this. We don't know if this is true. And in my head, I'm just like, I don't know. And by the way, this is just all going on in my head. How? Okay, so you're getting reports, or at least you're getting reports that are not, I guess, credible to you, because he said because this was that's what the department said. We weren't getting credible reports. Like, I'm not sure why you would need to say this was a credible report. Like, if you're getting a report of this happening, yeah, that should, like, say something at least. Now, the reports weren't revealed, the reports aren't talked about, and that's it. I tried to look for the reports, and all I got was woman on Twitter talking about how her cat was eaten. Woman killed a cat, but she was not from Springfield, she was from Compton. Don't know too much about why that matters too much, but being that it doesn't matter. But either way, this was going on. Woman got arrested, but found out she was not illegal or some shit like that. The information's basically like scrambled headed, and I guess it's just talking points. There's no evidence of it. So the only people that would have evidence of this happening I guess would be the police department. And whether or not there were reports or not, they did say, and again, there were no credible reports. That doesn't really imply there were no reports. They're just saying they didn't find the reports credible, and we don't know why. It's a weird subject to touch on, and yeah, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have evidence of it, with the exception of maybe somebody sharing it and some dude carrying a goose down the street for whatever reason. Who knows why? And that's just the only things you have to go off of, and that isn't even much. So far be it from me. No, is there actually illegals eating cats and dogs? Or eating goose and ducks? Well, the reports of ducks and goose being eaten was there. That was talked about. And the only conclusion is, as far as the police department is concerned, there is no credible reports. I'm not sure why that's necessary to deem the reports not credible, but hey, they would know, I guess. I hope I covered that bit. I thought that would be an interesting thing to talk about because, like, it's not something I'm good covering the premiere anyway. And it's just one of the things I keep hearing about. And that's one of the things I heard about from Parker, and some people say I don't believe in the dog eating story, or I don't believe this, it's not actually happening. But I actually kind of looked into it to see what's going on with it, and as far as I'm concerned, I can't really confirm if it's actually happening or not. And nor can I actually deny either, because the reports, as the art department say, aren't credible. Don't dismiss it entirely either. They just say, "Well, we just don't find the reports credible." I mean, they don't really debunk anything of that sort of nature. They don't say these things aren't happening. They just, okay, but we don't have credible reports of this shit happening. So I don't know if they're even looking into it. They probably are, but maybe they're not. Would help if somebody gave me a tip, though. And everything I looked for was just, it's conspiracy theory, misinformation, fear mongering, this, and that. I'm just like, well, I guess so, but I'm gonna check my washing machine. Give me a sec. Let me play a fun.
Look out, why are the fake Christian? He's as clever as a pigeon, but he needs to listen. Having wieners in his closet is really out of pocket. Why do you moan on calls? Don't you have any balls? Stand by your back.
Just for fun. But it's not. But he's not really to talk anyway. I already made fun of him enough anyway. Right. Other than that, back to the cats and dogs eating bullshit thing. I really would like to know more. Like, I looked through the information and I thought it would be kind of straightforward. Are there reports? Where's the reports? Because, like, that's one thing I was more concerned about. Like, if there is reports multiple of these things, yeah, I mean, there is some validation to it, but we don't have those things, do we? The police department does, considering that they don't really say they don't have any. They just say they don't have any credible ones. So, there's that. I'm gonna throw in this. I know nobody's watching. I know. 0 views. I know. But maybe Vikings would tune up. Just show up out of the blue. Who knows? He's basically the only one that watches me anyway. But yeah. There we go. Anyway. Maybe somebody with a little bit more information could tune me up into it. But I did my best to get into the research bullshit, but none of it was really talking about anything new. So I had to like kind of brainstorm why things were occurring, being said what they were said. And the only conclusion was maybe there is something like that going on, but illegal immigrants aren't actually eating, attacking cats and dogs. It's just other dudes, people just being idiots in Ohio, like usual. Who knows? It's just a who knows situation and not enough information to conclude anything. But JD Vance and Donald Trump are positive that's happening. Not a good look, though, especially with the lack of information that we have so far. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough. Maybe I gotta go to the dark web and look for it. Maybe then that will be there. Sure, hackers know. Okay. So we talked about that. So there's one other one I do want to talk about. The Parker and the Joe Biden shit. The Parker TikTok debater. I don't know his first name, but I just know his last name is Parker and shit. And then there's Joe Biden. I know Joe Biden's nobody cares about that guy, but I've been seeing quite some Twitter posts. And one of the reasons why I stopped going to Twitter too much is because it's like, okay, I'm tired of seeing stuff like that. Because when I open up Twitter and people are like, Joe Biden's so great, such a kind man, it's like, didn't these people just got done shitting on the guy for having a terrible performance on a debate stage and he can't no longer run for president? But now, like fucking 4 months later, he's the greatest president to ever done it. Nah. Just to talk about this for a bit. Ironic. It's very ironic. But okay, I'll put this simply. Child sniffer launched airstrikes in the Middle East without congressional approval. Was on Epstein Island. Sniffing children's hair. What else? Also dementia. Walking around cluelessly. Trying to shake people's hands that are not even there. What else? Oh, the explosion of fentanyl in the country. That's another thing. Open border policies to screw Trump over, but then blame the bill that was blocked, which nobody elaborates on. All you hear from the left is Trump blocked the bill. Trump blocked the bill. Nobody knows what the bill is even. I guarantee you, if you asked a leftist what the bill was called, the legislative bill, by the way, they wouldn't know. And by the way, nobody would know. It's like I got into several talks with people, including people that voted for Trump. They couldn't really explain it either. It was just like, this is what happened. Like the first time I read something like that was Carmela saying, "Oh no, the border crisis because Trump blocked the bill. Like how could you? It's his fault for the border crisis." So it's like he's not even president. Like what? Like how are you gonna blame him for something? Like Biden's in power. Why are you blaming Trump? Right? Right. And people try to say, well, there was a bill and Trump was apparently blocked and stuff like that. I'm just like, he's not even president. How is he going to block a bill? That's Joe Biden. I'm not even sure what the bill is. So, a little reading I did a bit, like usual. What people were talking about, whether they knew or not, was 2017, where legislative bill was blocked by Trump because he had a better idea. He signed executive orders to get the border on. He signed executive orders to the stay in Mexico policy and other stay in the United States policy. People had to follow a process, check in, and wait for their court hearing so they can, whether or not they'll be eligible in the United States to be immigrants, not illegal immigrants. Immigrants. You can be an immigrant, just not illegal. There's a reason why we call it illegal, because it's illegal to be here without documentation. There we go. I hope that makes sense, but either way, thought I'd elaborate that a bit. A legislative bill back in 2017 was blocked. Biden and Kamala talking about like that as if that was happening in present day. Either way, Joe Biden, no, one of the worst presidents to ever graced the fucking White House. Dude, that's like, I don't know how people can call that guy good. Oh, by the way, threatened the prosecutor of what was it? Pakistan? Or was it Ukraine? Yeah, it was Ukraine. Threatened the prosecutor in Ukraine to get fired if he tried to prosecute his son, and which his son had laptops that showcased something illegal, but FBI withheld that information purposely so they can try to impeach Trump. Wow, who would have thought? Stuff like that. Stuff like that. Yeah, such a great president. Such a kind man. Ugh. And now the trash can people taken back in their house. But other than that, yay. People talk about Joe Biden like the greatest of all time after shitting on him. Yeah, what are the odds? What are the odds? Also, people praising him. Oh, this is going to strike against Trump. He signed the Sun Chip Act with the Taiwan manufacturing company. So now that's a strike against Donald Trump. I'm just like, yeah, I'm sure signing more foreign policies. By the way, this was back in 2022 where this was signed, and I talked about this in the past. Basically, it's a factory going to be built in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. Good job opportunities, I'll say that. But $60 billion to another foreign nation, yay! This is what we need. Just to talk about this for a bit. This is going to be in the premiere too, but why are like people do realize the same countries like China, Mexico have like tariffs on the United States, right? They have tariffs on the United States. Trump wants to impose tariffs on some of the countries that have tariffs on the United States. But God forbid Trump does tariffs on them. I mean, like, why is that a bad thing? The problem is we're investing too much in foreign product. We already got a chip factory making in Texas called literally TI, Texas Instruments. We can invest in that. Like, why do we need a foreign fucking company to help make chips? Whatever. That's the Democratic Party for you. We already have something better in the US, but nah, we'll just give it to somebody else that would probably do a worse job. You know? Right. Yay, Biden. Yay, what a great president. I can't wait for him again. Yeah, people calling him the greatest president to ever be in the White House, yet they wanted him out the moment Kamala stepped foot. Right. Parker, the TikTok debater. This is one I did want to talk about. Because, like, you guys are aware of, like, the TikTok kid who apparently just blew up because he has TikTok opinions. TikTok brain dude over there. Some kid. Scrawny. Apparently he's a white boy for Carmella. Now, just to say this, it's weird because I saw him with a debate with a libertarian. Like the libertarian, I don't remember the libertarian's name, but he was like asking him questions. Dude, you were slandering me. You didn't do your research, and because I had an opinion, you assumed that I was a right conservative. Right. And you'll hear Parker, and then the clips the libertarian plays is a lot of leftist talking points. And like he regurgitates these talking points. Now, what the libertarian doesn't point out to him, and what he doesn't, well, he sort of does, but not really. And this is what I would have done when the libertarians choose. The thing Parker claims the right is doing is exactly what he is doing. regurgitating talking points, not with actual any thoughts going into the talking points in the first place. You're just saying things that, oh, that's crazy, oh, this is crazy, oh, this, that, and the other, but lumping me into that. This kind of the problem with the left, right? Right. But regardless of talking points or propaganda, talking points and they're just regurgitating them and not even elaborating anything. It's something Destiny does. I've seen a lot of left, and I noticed this. People will say talking points but not elaborate. Like, I mean, somebody, for example, like I've brought up before, oh, Trump blocked the bill. Trump blocked the bill. People, your average person watching isn't going to know what you're talking about. That's just the way it is. People are going to probably more than likely be like, what? What bill? What are you talking about? What the fuck? What does fentanyl in the United States under Joe Biden's administration have to do with Trump? What? Like, he's not even in power. Like, what? Where are you pulling this shit from? So it's just the talking point Kamala threw up and threw it out there, and everybody just ran with it. You'll notice this with people. And I've actually talked with people, including the right. They didn't know what the bill was. They did their best to explain it. Like, oh, Trump actually had a bill and he imposed it. He imposed it or like denied it or some shit like that. It was like, I mean, he's not even in power. Like, how is he going to deny something when he's not even in power? Nobody thought to bring up, probably because they didn't know what it was. They didn't know where it came from. It was 2017. I already talked about this, but point being, people like Parker are the kinds of people who just regurgitate talking points. Destiny 2, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't put any stock in what they say. And I wouldn't even give them a platform, but we'll continue to give them a platform knowing that they're not the smartest people on the planet. They're not really all about what their thoughts are. They mostly just whatever talking points from the internet and say this is what they do. Okay. There's no actual thought process. Here's another Parker and the Libertarian. I'm calling him a Libertarian because that's all I know him as. I remember his face, I just don't know his name. He voted for John Oliver, or Oliver John, the Libertarian. And sorry, I mean, like, I respect anybody that tries to vote for a Libertarian or other party, but they're not going to win by a long shot. They're just not going to win. Right? This is weird. Like, Parker doesn't consider the Constitution that really important. Something around those lines. He doesn't consider it. It's not something like that. It's not important. That was kind of his. That was my takeaway. And this is weird to me because like he is on a platform on TikTok debates. And then there's another case of him saying, "Well, I objectify with morality with my thoughts or something like that, and my speculations and my subjectivity." But then proceeds to say their subjectivity of morals don't matter, just mine. It's like, what? And the whole debate, by the way, was that, no, this is separate from the Libertarian, but I'm talking about a different debate where some guy called in and he was kind of on the fence about gay marriage, something like that. And he asked him, how do you define morality? And Parker was like, well, my subjectivity helps me define my morality. And the guy asks, so what about other people's subjectivity about morality? It's like, oh, it doesn't matter. Their subjectivity of morality doesn't determine morality at all. Like, what? Stuff like that. Back to the Libertarian. Parker just says shit. I don't think, he doesn't even think about his statements. He'll say one thing and say, like, things like, well, and the Libertarian guy exposed this. Like, he asked, well, what if they say words and they're just, and by the way, this was explained prehand. So if a court goes to Now, in this criminal issue, if a jury is 99% sure the person did it, they have restricted freedoms, right? But if a civil issue and then there's like 51% insurance, like if jury is, for example, or anybody else is 51% sure of the offender doing this, then the rights are restricted as well. And Parker was like, well, yeah, I find that okay if they did it. But as the libertarian kept explaining to him, well, just because you're sure of something doesn't mean it actually happened. Okay, like there still has to be the cost of evidence coming into it. Like, how do you know they actually did the crime? Being sure of it isn't good enough, right? It was like, well, like I'm okay with it regardless. Yeah, and that's our libs of the years, people. They exist. They exist. Who would have thought? Hmm. Whew. I got 36 minutes going. That's nice knowing, but I'll continue going because I got more to talk about. JD, there's pro wrestling too. I think I forgot to add more. I think I added something. Oh, Cody Rhodes. I wanted to talk about Cody Rhodes. So there's JD. There's that. I already talked about Parker. Yeah, I talked about Parker. I talked about the cats and dogs shit. I talked about Joe Biden briefly. There's just JD. Yeah, JD. That's one guy I kind of wanted to talk about. Like, I'm gonna play a song, and I know people aren't gonna be too keen on listening to it anyway, but because they're not here right now. But I'm gonna play it. So it's there. It's called JD and the Moose. I uploaded it to YouTube, but it's there now. Anyway, I will play it and I want to talk about it because it's a joke. I like making fun of JD and his mooses. So let's listen to it. Oh, that's it. Yeah, well. What do you think of that song, ladies and gentlemen? I haven't been keeping up with JD as of lately or at all, actually. But to give a brief talk about the guy, yeah, like remember, like I want to say this about him. You remember the time where he loved AEW when it first came out? Remember the time? Yeah, I remember the time. Now here's my thoughts about it. Now, like 3 years later, he now, or four, maybe four, but 3 years later, he now hates it with a burning passion. Like his hatred for Vince McMahon was replaced with Tony Khan. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess you still need stuff to rant on if people gravitate to JD to listen to his rants. Like nobody goes to JD from New York to listen to his positivity. People like his freaking negative impressions and just screaming on crazy over fucking pro wrestling shit. There we go. I mean, it's enjoyable at the time because like it's like if you paid attention to JD in the past at all, you'll know about his freaking Mario Kart racist and sexist rants. It's just some of the most funniest shit you'll ever hear. And there's nothing more funny than an agitated midget. That's just funny to me. Like if you want an angry JD, go to his Mario Kart videos. Those alone are just like the greatest things you'll ever hear. At least in my opinion. Some people freak out over that. Some people actually freak out over, oh, these racist. Dude, that's what makes it funny. He's just saying shit on impulse. Like he's not even in control of himself. He's just freaking angry at a video game, and he's just taking them out on people he doesn't know. So he's a Mexican or some shit like that. I think I really hated Japanese people back then too. Like I guess he loves them now. Yeah, it's like one of those things. Like if there's a good side of JD, it's just his angry midget man. He's an angry midget man. That's the best way to describe JD. An angry midget man. That one's out of the way. JD. I talked about him. Oh, I put Netflix, didn't I? No, I'm not checking my descriptions. I just put some things I would like to talk about because why not? Netflix, I mean, Netflix is an interesting platform itself. I mean, it featured Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, so it's a growing platform. But I mean, it's getting a little too leftist, if you catch my drift. It has a lot of woke shows now, a little too woke. Like I watched this one show. No, it's about like the Vikings bullshit, where mythologies of the not sure what it was Scandinavian culture basically, based on Scandinavian culture, giants and the freaking warriors, gods and shit, right? Not historically or even biblically accurate, but it was fun to watch. But it was like eventually it just went to faction. It was nothing but faction at that point. Like, okay, I'm done. It's meant for gay people. I get it. Like, who's writing this shit? You just, I mean, I found it entertaining for the most part because I could let the freaking like, okay, the inaccuracy descriptions and just the nonsensical shit just slides because it's entertainment for the most part. But it's just at the end of the day, once I started seeing too much gay shit, it's like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to see that anymore. Like, okay, fine. Can you at least put a warning? Can you at least put viewer discretion as advice for straight people? I'm sorry, predominantly straight people run the world, not gay people, not trans, not bisexuals, straight people. I'm sorry to say it, straight people. Majority are straight people. Please put viewer discretion as advised. If you're gonna have gay shit in there, please and thank you. How is everybody doing today? Just thought I'd say that about Netflix. Cody Rhodes, oh boy. Now pro wrestling talk. Cody Rhodes, yay. The man of the hour who's been forgotten about quite seemingly. Can you believe it? I can actually. It's honestly I saw this coming along like a mile away. This eventually was gonna happen. It's like you can blame Cody, you can blame booking, you can blame management, but that overall point, I think that's Cody Rhodes' own fault. Like he was uninteresting. Now we can blame booking, fine. I at the time I was blaming booking, but at this point, like there's still no excuse for Cody Rhodes. Like he's still being given opportunities. Like he could get over, but he chooses not to. But that aside, Cody Rhodes, like he's a lost cause. He's not willing to adapt to change or improve. He's just cutting the same shit over and over again, saying the same things over and over again. He's not doing anything great that we haven't seen before. Acting like a John Cena 3.0. He's not interesting. Like he's more interesting than Gunther, don't get me wrong, but he's just not that interesting. He's not somebody you want to go and watch. He's done nothing to keep the viewers engaged. He's done nothing. He is boring. So like it's like you need to go back to the drawing board. Not just Cody, but Triple H. I don't even know why they decided to go with the guy if he wasn't even ready for it. Yeah, I talked about this in the past where like, okay, this is what you could do with Cody Rhodes if you turn him heel, do this, that, and I made a premiere about the terrible booking of Cody Rhodes. And I specifically discussed the booking about that. There might need to be a premiere about Cody Rhodes' personality and why he's failed personally and what he's done to get over and make the product better, which is actually not better but worse. So I would discuss the booking aspect of that. Or not just booking aspect, just the character in general. Overall point, Cody Rhodes sucks. There needs to be a title change. He's buried talents like John Cena and Triple H. There we go. Now, with all that being said, I talked about everything. I talked about everything I wanted to talk about, so not that people will join, but I'm looking to engage with people now. I'll set in weights. If people don't, that's fine too. There is the link right there. Yep, I'm talking about the StreamYards link. If people think to join. I see one person who's watching. A shout out to that one person viewer. He left. Yeah, he'll come back probably. It's always one viewer, and it's always Minnesota Vikings fan. Join in, Minnesota Vikings. What's stopping you? Hello, Minnesota Vikings fan. How you doing? It's always Minnesota Vikings fan who's watching me. One of the best people to have ever graced this community. Like, there's a lot. And now, speaking of the community, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm willing to like talk about some stuff. Like, I know some things happened. I know it because I've been on the 13 Yards Through the Windshield's channel, and he was apparently making videos about Ryan the Heel getting pizzas to his doors, ordered to his door. Now, question number one: why aren't isn't me or anybody else like I would like a pizza? Like, what's going on here? What is with all the pizzas being ordered to people's houses? Like, what is up with that? Yes, I know about the friggin' doxing, by the way, too. Like, it's been talked about on Ken's show, but apparently, like, people have been doing the personal info stuff still. I guess nothing changes. So, like, I'm still like curious of what friggin' like. Tell me what happened with that shit. Like, I would really like to know, like what exactly was going on. It's one of the weirdest things to even hear about too. Would have thought. Who would have really thought? Meh. Now my question is, Ryan the Heel's address was put out there too, being that he had pizzas ordered to his house. I mean, like, come on. So, like, that's I guess what led to him putting out personal info too. Apparently, it was about YR, as far as I know. Now, question is, was it really YR? Because back on the Ken show, when I was hearing about it the first time, uh, it was said Ryan was the one that looked up personal info for no reason and bashing him, but nobody bashed YR for it. Why? That's my question. Oh, well, I guess there's going to be no answer to that one. I mean, like, I guess I would have to ask some Dave Rose because he knows shit about that. But I, or maybe I could just ask Ron the Heel himself because he found me on Skype apparently. Uh, I've been kind of like I couldn't wait. I didn't want to talk about this too much, but at the same time, I was like, I gotta talk about this, and there's got to be people who can like dabble into it and like give an in-depth dive into what actually went down. You know, somebody can. You know, somebody can. Like this shit happened, and there's like, I think there's the Gargant and Danny MT whole 14-year-old shit. Like, I don't know the context of that one, but it's like, what? What the hell is going on there? Yeah. Anyway, so I'll take it as. I'm still gonna go live. I'm still like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until somebody gives me a scoop for a bit more. I mean, like it's not like nobody knows about this. I'm sure somebody knows about this. I know a little about it. Like, I want to know what was happening with that. Like, I'm not. I could, like I said, I could just go ask Ryan or Dave because they're the ones that would know. No, because Dave, he's always covering drama anytime it happens, and Ryan, because of his personal issues with YR, I guess. Mm. So I'm guessing. Hmm.
Come on. Give me something. Alright. How you doing, Shaft? How you doing, Darth Bowlesy? See that? Even Darth Bowlesy's in the chat. With the link to the StreamYards. Meh, I guess why not? Hold on, let me check for a guest. No guests yet. 56 minutes, an hour before. Last time I did go live, there's like a lot more people who are engaging and shit, just asking me questions about, but mostly about pro wrestling. So yeah, there's that. I guess they don't know I'm live yet. Give me a minute. I'm gonna put on some random music just for the background, cause like maybe Puppet King going on. Split screen. See, that works. Split screen. So like I'm gonna look through, because maybe this stream didn't get out to people enough. Yeah, it's usually that case. Well, shit. It's working. Yep. Nah. Nah. Hold on. Does this side work? Still works. Good. Still works. Still 2 people watching. Freaking hard for it. I don't get it. Quiet. Yeah, like the split screen is for some odd reason like tough for whatever reason. But it is what it is, right? I'll go full screen right here, and there we go. Yeah, so meh. I shared it, but I don't think it's gonna get anywhere. But either way, I'm pretty sure some people are gonna see it and maybe comment on it. Cause at least I got like 2 viewers now. Interesting. Anyway, I guess I'll end it here, cause at least I went 58 minutes long. Why not? See ya. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Bye bye.